to be wearing the mask.
Yes, you do, because you are in church and we're recording. And hi, everyone. We're going to try and do this in one take, much to Stephen's annoyance. But it's Richard here from Mustard Seed, and we are talking about going back to church. And we're very much hoping that we will be able to open up church this Sunday. But Stephen has got some important information for us. So, Stephen, just tell us what going back to church is going to be like. How do we prepare for it?
So the first thing you will need to do when you've had an email from Liz this week is to sign up for church. You're going to need to book a slot using a form that Liz is going to send you later in the week. You'll have a choice of 2 services so that we can keep social distancing, at 4 and at 5:15.
And when you come to church, you've chosen, say, to come for the 4 o'clock event. What must you do? Can you just walk into church and barge in?
No, Rich. You'll need to queue outside. There will be someone outside helping us to queue in appropriately distant fashion along the fence at the front of the church here. And that'll help us to come in a way that doesn't mean we're getting crowded together too closely at the moment. And when you arrive in the building, when you're invited into the building, you'll need to share some details with our welcomers so that we can take part in track and trace and all of that kind of policy appropriately, and then be shown to a seat which you'll need to stay in as much as possible once the service begins.
In a moment, I'll get you to walk us to a seat so people can see what church looks like. But when people come into the church, what must they do?
They will also need to sanitize their hands and then give their details to the welcomers who will be here for them as well.
And whilst they're moving around the church, we're strongly advising people to wear masks, aren't we?
Yes, that's why I'm wearing a mask, Richard.
Great. And do we hope that they'll wear them all the time?
If possible, yeah. I know that some people find them a little bit uncomfortable, so if when you're in your seat you need to take it off, then that would be okay, but we would strongly recommend that folks keep them on if they can, and especially while they're moving around the space.
Great. And I can say also it's appropriate to take your mask off to receive communion.
Yes,
but
not whilst you're being given communion.
Thank you very much. So let's go and walk through to take your place as though you're just about to go to church. So you can see it looks a bit different, church.
Well, I'm going to go as far down to the front as I can. So we're going to be filling up the church from the front. You will be guided to a specific seat so that we don't have to pass each other too much, and then you can sit down and relax until the service begins.
Great. And will we be able to talk to each other?
Absolutely, but you'll need to stay in your seat to do it. So it might be that you need to call across to people a little bit, and we know that's going to be not ideal. We'll know that you'll want to go and speak to people more closely, and hopefully you'll be able to have conversations, but you will need to stay in your seat in order to maintain distancing as much as possible. Okay,
and things like singing, will we be doing singing when we worship?
Sadly not. No, we're still not allowed, according to the government, to sing, because that expresses all sorts of stuff into the air. So at the moment, all of our worship is going to be spoken, and Rich is going to be leading us through communion as well.
Great. So we'll have done our service and it'll be lovely, and we're very much hoping that there'll be a time of sharing and being able to pray together, so some deep connections as much as we can do in these COVID times. But we finished our service. What happens then?
So when the service finishes, you'll need to wait in your seat and be invited to leave by one of our welcomers. That again is just to make sure that we're remaining appropriately distanced. So we'll ask the people that are sitting nearest to the front to leave first. We're going to leave through a different door than we've come in from to sort of establish a bit of a one-way system. There's going to be some packed food available for anyone who needs that by the exit, which you'll be able to take out and take with you onto the street. And another important thing to add there is that, again, there'll be the temptation to try and find someone for a chat out on Easter Road, but we need to be really considerate of our community as well. So we need to move away from the building as quickly as we can and not cause blockages on the pavements if we can avoid it.
Great. So the key things are that people are going to have to sign up to do it, and you need to watch out for Liz's email.
Yes.
You need to be very careful coming into church, following all the guidance that we have. Try and keep seated, try and keep your mask on if you can, and then be very careful when you're leaving.
Absolutely. One more thing to add. We will encourage you, if you can avoid needing to use the toilet while you're here, then that would be great. There will be a toilet available, but those that go to the loo will need to sort of do some cleaning of the toilet and all of that area afterwards. So if it's possible for you to go before you leave and hold on until you get home, then great. But don't stress if not. There will be a toilet available with some restrictions and other supports around it.
Great. And what I'm just going to do now is I'm just going to pan around the church just so you can see how different it is. And you'll note that we put chairs in pairs because we are trying to put households together when we come in, so we can have as many of us as possible worshipping together. But we are very conscious that we want to make sure that we keep social distancing and to worship in as safe a way as possible. So thanks, Stephen, for sharing with us.
Thank you,
We really love you, and your mask looks very beautiful, and looking forward to seeing you really soon.
We'll see you on Sunday.